What's up, everybody? I'm back-to-back shows, back-to-back live shows, FMA Dumpster Fire podcast. I just got off a really dope conversation with Master Mario Fernandez Quiroz, and it got me thinking, like, there's a lot of Filipino martial artists out there who have valid opinions and, like, dope things to say, and now's your chance, all right? And maybe this won't work out. Maybe y'all will be, like, all too scared to hop on, but hey, we'll keep it friendly, you know what I'm saying? But y'all are welcome to join. So without further ado, this episode is going to be just all about randomness. Let's see if we can make it work. This is FMA. Wait, no, this is FMA. I was about to say this is FMA discussion. No, this is about FMA discussions. My name is Paulo, aka GM. This is the FMA Dumpster Fire podcast. Let's get it rolling.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go.
You're finished. Get up.
Get up. Gotta wake up, bitch, get up.
Oh.
Get up. Get up.
Before it launched the counterattack.
Oh.
What's up, everybody? It is a Thursday evening. It is 10:30 p.m., February 10th, 2022. This is another episode of the FMA Dumpster Fire podcast. My name is Paulo Rubio. Here's what I did, foolishly, perhaps. But I went on my Facebook page and I made a post with a link to join this podcast. Now, it's an FMA podcast. Not a whole lot of people out there doing FMA, let alone watching this show. But I thought it might be interesting to see if we get anybody who wants to chat about Filipino martial arts. We can do that. So first, before we get these guests going, I want to talk a little bit about where I'm at right now in my Filipino martial arts journey. A lot of y'all have been following my journey and have been having a good laugh at my mistakes and love it when I get my ass kicked. I love it too. I'm laughing right along with you. It's a beautiful journey, especially when you're free, which I am. I don't belong to any system. I don't have any rank whatsoever, other than Super Guru, which apparently is like the biggest rank out there. But where I'm at, I'll be honest with you, man. I kind of fell out of love with FMA for a couple of weeks during the holiday season. My left shoulder is injured. It's been injured 4 months, and I don't know what's wrong with it. So I'm dealing with that. And, I think sometimes I overpost. I am over-present. I share too much. And I'll tell you what happens now. Let me share with you, like, how my day starts. So I wake up, and I walk downstairs, and I check my feed. There's usually a whole bunch of notifications and messages that I've missed. And one of you people would have written something, commented on something, or share something where I'm like, oh, I hate you right now, because I'm so inspired by the Filipino martial arts community that if somebody says something about a witik or like they think this footwork model is nonsense, I'll sit here, I have my coffee, got my vape in hand, and I will honestly just think about you. I will think about that comment that you left me. And then I'll cross-reference my experiences, and then I'll start writing. And the moment I start writing, it's like all over. It's done. Like I've killed 2, 3, sometimes 5 hours of my day thinking about some shit that you posted or that you replied with. And truthfully, I'm so grateful for that because I consider it kind of part of my job, even though I have an actual job where I have to like edit videos and maintain social platforms. But the Filipino martial arts community at its current state right now is undergoing the Filipino martial arts community right now. It's amazing. It's freaking amazing. It's amazing. All right, we've got what's up. We have it's It's Jozef, right?
Yeah.
Jozef. Here's an interesting cat. Where are you right now?
I'm in Laguna right now at the moment.
Laguna. Bro, one of the coolest things for me was hearing you speak Tagalog. So, will you introduce yourself in Tagalog to everybody for me?
Magandang umaga po sa inyo lahat. Ako si Jozef Henry Elefant. And it's a great time to be part of FMA.
Jozef, you're a Filipino martial artist. You're a Filipino martial arts instructor. You're a very talented individual. I sparred your father in the Philippines. That was pretty amazing. How did you get started in the Filipino martial arts, and why are you still in it?
I got started because I was interested in knife self-defense. That's how I got started with it.
Okay.
And because at first I saw like people fighting with sticks and all that, and I didn't find it practical at all.
Okay.
Like, who walks around carrying a stick and all that? A lot of people were I met also had the same perception of Filipino martial arts with the whole stick thing. Like, who carries around aside from people who have canes and all that. Sorry, 1 second.
Be quiet. I'm in a podcast.
Anyway, people didn't think that you needed. Sorry, 1 second again.
It's okay. Where is this guy? So this guy lives in the Philippines, y'all. Like, and he speaks like fluent Tagalog. He's adopted our art, and he's really quite good at it. He's okay. You got everybody to be quiet now. It's no big deal, bro.
I know, but it's not often you get to hang out with you online.
Yeah, well, it's cool, man. Yeah, it's been a while, right? Okay. So you live in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Were you born in the Philippines?
Yes, born and raised. My entire 24 years on this earth is in the Philippines.
Wow. Okay, so let me ask, where are your parents originally from? If I can ask.
My dad was born in the U.S.
Okay.
And he grew up in Switzerland.
Okay.
And my mom is from here, Philippines, Pandacan, Philippines. So yeah, I spent a lot of time here in Makati and in a few years in Iloilo.
Okay, so do you identify completely as Filipino? And talk to me about that. How does that work?
Yeah, I do. I completely identify. That's a weird thing to say. I never thought I would have to say it like that. But yeah, I do, because I've spent my entire life here, and this is all I ever known. Yeah.
Do you still feel like it? Do you feel accepted? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you feel accepted. But is there an element of you that's like maybe insecure that you're teaching Filipino martial arts? Does that ever still surface?
I'm not insecure about the teaching part at all. There's nothing to be insecure about, because the art's for everyone.
The art is what?
The art's for everyone, no matter where you're from or what you do. It's absolutely for everyone. So I don't think there's a reason for anyone, foreign or national, foreign, Filipino or not Filipino, to be insecure about anything related to this art. Because even though the word Filipino is there, it just means it's from us. It doesn't mean it's just for us. Hopefully that makes more sense.
Yeah, it's from us. It doesn't mean it's just for us. Actually, that's a really beautiful way to put it. And how old are you now?
I'm 24.
Now you have a Filipino martial arts system.
Sorry?
You have a Filipino martial arts system.
I don't have my own.
Yeah, you do. Just Call it, man. It's you. It's a representation of you and your collective knowledge and all of the instructors that you learn from. It's your system.
Yeah, the main thing I generally teach is, of course, big props to Master Henry Sparrow and the rest of the guys in RK. It's mainly RK. That's what I mainly teach because I really believe that's the best, one of the best for beginners to pick up. And I think the learning curve there really shoots you up compared to other systems I developed. I'm not saying the other systems are terrible, or I think this RK is just the best to get started with.
RK, Rapido, Realismo, Kali. When was the last time you met with Master Henry Aspera?
Master Henry, I met him last year, and I actually took a really in-depth video with him explaining a bunch of stuff about more of an interview about the history, about his teachers, about Elefant Ilustrisimo, about Andy, and all the inspiration for RMK. Like,
yeah,
of course, there's a lot of controversy surrounding, of course, Ilustrisimo and all that, and
right.
And it was really good stuff, but that's only like an in-house thing just for RK. Hopefully we'll have that up for our members only. But it's a lot of good stuff, and he really talked about deeply about where the stuff comes from.
You know, you were the person responsible for introducing me and facilitating, I think it was maybe 4 or 5 hours with Master Henry Aspera. Yeah. And it completely just blew my mind. And I can say that it changed the course of my Filipino martial arts journey, because here was a man that I had never even heard of, really. And in that short amount of time, maybe I never shared this with you, but he shared with me his knife curriculum, which...
Yeah, about the knife, he doesn't really teach it a lot anymore. Yeah. But I've heard from the older guys, the senior members of RK, that he teach a lot more. But a lot of it is similar to, again, boxing, right? As you, like the promo video you put out was, you know, the best disarms per knife with a punch in the face, right? We iterated that. So yeah, a lot of it, the knife work is a lot to do with boxing, but his trapping is something else, as you experienced firsthand. And trapping is a strange way to put it, because when I felt his energy, and he's an incredibly strong individual. Like, that's the thing that most people don't know about Master Henry Aspera, is because, like, he moves, you know, he's like chilling. The man is extraordinarily strong. Like, he is super strong. And so what you refer to as trapping, I feel like that was closer to wrestling, because it was like a full body control, even though he just had your arm, you know? So that's a big props to, as well, more or best Henrel from Andy Aberan. So, or Andrew, some people know him as. So in more, which is integrated into RK, there's a lot of that. When he grabs you, you don't really pay attention to what he does with his legs, because you're too focused on where he's grabbing you.
Right.
So all of the restraint you feel is not generally from the grab. It can be from structure or his positioning.
Yes.
Right. Where he has his knee, where his hip is placed. So it's all there. But you don't really pay attention to it because you're too busy focusing on where he's grabbing you. So that's why, and you feel like he has an overwhelming strength, because he's also using our basic principles, which is structure, position. So he's really, really good at that. And there's some things that you can perform better if you're taller than someone or shorter as well. He also really specifies that when he teaches. So it's great stuff.
He's a very honest instructor too, isn't he?
You know,
like, he'll tell you, like, you can make that work, or you can't make that work, or this is going to take a long time, or don't even. He's very, very honest with. Why do you suppose that is?
I think maybe it has to do with his upbringing, you know, and especially his influences. Because, like, for example, all the stories I've heard about that time in the Shusman, you're just straight to the point. You hit me. Don't block, don't this, right? You can block, parry, but hit the guy, right? That's the main thing. It's a martial art. If you're focusing on the martial aspect, one of the big things is striking, grappling. But if you want to strike, if you want to get better positioning or open up, get some openings, you got to grapple, and vice versa. You grapple to strike, and strike to grapple.
Yeah.
All right. So I
And
think,
RRK is such a good system. It's such an incredible Filipino martial arts system, man. And you're fortunate. I mean, you have such incredible access to, to Master Henry, and you living in the Philippines and having you're a stone's throw away from so many great practitioners. So, yeah. Elefant Kali, if people wanted to know more about you, hopefully this was enough time for them to go, who the heck is that guy? He sounded interesting. What? The guy looks like he's 7 years old. How is he a badass Filipino martial arts instructor? Which you are, man. You really are. You're super skilled, and I think I love the way you. I've never seen you teach, but I imagine it's not very far off from who you are as a person, as an individual, right? You strike me as somebody who is very calculated, careful, and humble, soft-spoken. But there's a confidence in your soft-spokenness that I'm like, I gotta get to know this guy. We saw each other at the PTTA US or Asia conference.
Yeah, it's where we first met in Bali. In Bali.
In where?
Bali.
In Bali?
Yeah, it's where we first met.
Okay, and then again,
we saw each other in CD4.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
And in Makati.
Yeah, that's right.
And
That's right.
Sparring in Decathlon. That 2 versus 5 thing is really fun.
Yeah. You were my team, right? Like we got that cool photo, and it was like a 5-on-5 in the Philippines. And it was just a beautiful, one of my treasured moments in Filipino martial arts. But have you got a website or anything like that?
Yes, it's elefantkali.com. And ELEFANT. There's not much info up there at the moment because I just started making that site. But you'll check me out as well on Facebook, Elefant Kali. Facebook.com/Elefant Kali.
Cool. Right on. Well, I hope that it hasn't been too bad over there. I know like the Philippines is like crazy restrictions, and they're like, okay, now you're free, now you're not free. And
yeah, it's been tough for Philippine martial arts, especially during this time, because some places allow, then they don't allow. So it's tough.
Well, bro, I wish you all the best. Thank you for joining here today.
Thanks,
I appreciate you, man. I can't wait until I see you again. All right, brother.
Right.
Peace. Well, that was cool. All right. That was Jozef. Elefant Kali. Yeah. So, I mean, it was, I mean, the dude is, he's incredible. He's an incredible guy. He's one of these, like, I think he's building a really, really strong foundation. And maybe you don't know about him today. Maybe you just heard about him just now, but you're going to be hearing about him in the future. So yeah, before he joined, I was talking about like my daily routine in the Filipino martial arts and how you guys are just perpetually occupying my mental space. You guys, and here's my shout out to FMA discussion again. And I think, I'll be honest with you, Dean gives me a little too much credit when it comes to FMA discussion. Well, all I did was like point people in that direction and go, hey, there's awesome stuff happening in that forum. And now they have a YouTube channel with over 1,000 subscribers. And if you don't know, FMA discussion. Dean Franco, DINPRANKO. He's the man, and his team of stellar moderators and admins. He recently added his first female admin. She seems really cool. Totally forgot her name. I think it's something Carbonell. Anyway, there's a lot of names out there. But yeah, man, Filipino martial arts. Where is this thing going? Where's FMA going? Some days it's like, other days it's like, whoa. So like, where do you guys think Filipino martial arts is going? Who's this guy? Azaria Yashar Allah. I need a legit school here in Tacoma. Are you kidding me, bro? There's so many dope FMA schools in Washington. I don't know about Tacoma. Look at me. Maybe in Bellevue. I don't know. I really don't know their proximity. But friggin' Belton Lubas is there. Datu Kelly Warden is there. Hard to find, but Professor Leonard Trigg is around, floating around somewhere in the area, I think. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of people in the Washington area doing Filipino martial arts, man. Look it up. Look it up. But thank you. Thanks for joining. Let's see. Oh, crap. Oh, man, what is up with StreamYard? Yeah, this is not one of those very, like, dope ones. I guess it's because it's Thursday and it's almost 11 o'clock and nobody's up, or, you know, they don't want to jump on. So big shout out to Jozef Elefant. Yeah, so earlier today, I had an interview with Master Mario, Eminem. So we're going to call him now, Master Mario, Eminem. All right, I think I'm about to be joined by Tim Hartman, man. Let me go get this guy. Come on, Tim. You Guy Fieri lookalike. I'm supposed to do one with I'm supposed to do a podcast with Ty. You know what I didn't know about Ty? Ty's built. Like, that dude is muscular AF. I had no idea. Come on, Tim. Hurry up. Click the link. We're going to talk to, there we go, Datu Tim Hartman. Oh, man, my internet is so slow. This is terrible, you guys. This is terrible. I don't even know why I do this. It doesn't even make sense. How do I have a podcast? Why do I get to have a podcast? I'm sure there's people out there who are like, who is this jackass? And how does he get an audience? I totally get it. I'll tell you something. If I've been doing Filipino martial arts for 20, 30 years, and all of a sudden some dickhole like me comes around and is like, has a, you know, kind of an audience, I'd be pretty pissed at me. And I'd be my biggest troll. So I totally get it. Totally get it. And that's cool. I still love you. Jeremy Godet. Jeremy Godet. He is one of Greg Mason's dudes. I think, right? I don't want to misrepresent. Tim Hartman, hurry up, man. Yo, the link is there. Let's go. Let's go talk some stuff. You know what? I bet he's putting on his makeup. I love Tim. Mark Larite, so much exposure thanks to you, Dean, and social media. Thank you. I invented social media. I invented FMA social media, actually. So you're welcome. Hey, you're welcome, Filipino Martial Arts. I mean, where would it be without me? Probably more peaceful. Probably better. FMA would be way better without me. But then it wouldn't be as much fun, right? What's up? Howdy, howdy, howdy. No invite yet. Tim, dude, are you waiting for the link? Is right there on my Facebook post that you hit like on. That's literally the link. Mr. Hartman, come on. Get it together, brother. Go on my personal Facebook page. If we're friends on Facebook, it's right there. It's in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. You're free to join. Welcome to join. I'm going to give you some time. We're going to talk about FMA. We're going to talk about what makes it dope. I mean, we can talk about whatever. We can talk about why you don't like it that much. You know, one of the questions that I used to ask people all the time was like, oh, crap. No, I'm going to stop this. Oh, we got DT in the house.
Stop giving me shit, asshole.
What's up? What's up? Datu Tim Hartman in the house. How's it going? How are
It's
you?
going. How you doing?
I am pretty good. I'm pretty good. Yeah. How are things over in modern Arnis land?
All
Is
good
it
with
fixed
me.
yet? Is it fixed yet?
No, it's not fixed. They're all assholes.
Man.
I don't bother with the modern East world. I just worry about my own.
Okay. Is there? I'm sure you covered this, but I want to limit how much you end up answering this question, but what's the difference between Kombatan and modern Arnis?
So Kombatan comes from modern.
Okay, like a kid?
It's a derivative of modern. Remy taught his two younger brothers, Ernesto and Roberto. Each brother had their own specialty. Remy was the single stick fighter, as being one of the top fighters through Anshan Bakan. Ernesto was more of the double stick player, and Roberto was the stick and dagger fighter. So Remy did double stick drills where Ernesto did double stick material.
Oh.
So like in modern Arnis, you would do Sinwalis and Redunda, and that would be it.
Okay. So here's I'm gonna assume that is fact, right? That these brothers and associates and affiliates ended up having specialties. What is it just me, or does it seem like everybody who like trains Filipino martial arts outside of certain particular systems, they want to be experts at everything? And I think it takes a lifetime just to be good at like single stick. Not a lifetime, you know what I mean? Do you teach your students to specialize, or are you like, we're going to learn it all?
Okay, so the question is, how many weapons do we do? The answer is yes, we do weapons. So I teach. Hey, small fry, how you doing?
Good night.
Okay. So what I do is I'm a single stick specialist, but anything you put in my hands, I could utilize as a weapon. So I will do blade work. I will do double stick work. I will do staff work, tomahawk, fill in the blanks, not necessarily to do those weapons, but to learn how to adapt the techniques to the different tool and how a different tool will affect the primary formula. Because obviously, if you're using a tomahawk, there's some safety issues that you need to be worried about that you don't cut yourself. Same thing with a blade versus a stick. So some of the paths I take with my stick would be some people, why don't you go, like when I do my block check counter, if my arm's over top, my target, if my weapon's below my arm, that's where my target is. If my weapon's above my arm, that's where my target is. That way, if I transition to a bladed weapon and I'm on top and go low, I don't cut myself.
I'm just gonna nod my head, and I have a really difficult time like visualizing. Okay, thanks.
Hold on.
I was just gonna nod my head. Everything would have been fine.
I just happen to have rattan in my family room. Go figure.
Okay.
So hey, what do you?
Weird.
Hey, I got another co-star.
Hey, who's that? Boy or girl?
He.
Hey. Oh.
That's my 170-pound lapdog.
Well, you know what? James Lynn understands what you're saying. He says it makes sense.
So if I block here and I grab, I would hit down low. If I block and I chamber underneath, I would hit high, because if this is a bladed weapon and I transition to a low target, or if I'm this way and I go up.
There's a lot of that intellectualization stuff going on in FMA. Like if I had this, I would do this, and if I had that, I would do that. I never have that luxury whenever I spar. It just doesn't. I mean, the thought processes in learning and application are completely different. So I don't have the choice. How do you respond to that?
So I generally most I go with high probability, what my most likely attack and block is going to be, and I train for that. So like when I'm doing see, there's a difference between fighting and self-defense, and I think that's the biggest problem in the FMA industry. Yeah. People are doing, okay, here we go. I'm going to be the heretic when I say this. Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question here.
Go for it.
How often do you hear the FMA practitioners say that they are doing combat Arnis or FMA?
A lot, I guess.
Okay. So I would agree with them if we're talking historical combat, but I think most of them are not doing modern combat.
No, I mean, how could you be?
So I try to train, like my latest tool. I was just down in Orlando 2 weeks ago, or I was doing a Florida thing, and I ended up in Orlando, and I hung out with Orlando Escrima, and my newest toy is an axe handle they gave me.
Cool.
So I use bigger sticks because we're in North America.
Right.
I heard in an interview, GTG make comments about at one time that their system doesn't need to change. It's perfect the way it is and blah, blah, blah. And I don't know if I may have gotten that out of context, but I've heard other people say that as well.
Grand Tuhan?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a particular branch of PTK that is like totally like that.
So I think that's bullshit because when you transplant anything, you have to adapt.
Yeah,
martial
100%.
arts is affected by its environment.
100%.
Yeah.
We're not fighting in ankle or knee deep mud jungle stuff here.
No, well, they aren't either. So that's full of shit too. So you remember that documentary that I turned you on to?
Yep.
While filming it, a street fight broke out, about 30 people. While we were coming back from Lynetta Park. Here we are, the mecca of FMA. You know what kind of weapons people were using?
What, chairs and whatever was around? Yeah.
No, there was no kung fu fighting going on. It was all bullshit.
Well, people love thinking that what they're doing is combative.
Well, it is from a certain era, from a certain need. Like, there's nothing wrong with fencing. There's nothing wrong with kendo.
Yeah. I mean, I should probably clarify that. Because you can train Filipino martial arts in a way that sets you up pretty good for self-defense.
Personally, I think that I'm one of the smaller percentile of people out there who actually addresses modern day scenarios.
Okay.
So we're doing
a claim.
Race and dos manos blocking because people are coming out with heavy weapons. I mean, I have not seen one. I've never. Okay, the only time I've seen this used in the street was on YouTube, and it was a Filipino, and this is how he was swinging.
You see it in India a lot, actually. They use it.
But what I see a lot is heavy weapons, 2x4s, baseball bats.
Sure.
And where I grew up, the baseball bat, 2x4. So
well, here's the thing, though, man. There's a demand for authenticity and a direct connection to the system's founder, even from people who understand that these things need to be modified to suit where they currently are. And so there is no shortage of instructors who say, and you might say the same thing, I can do both. It's both. But how that manifests on the day-to-day, I think matters more than what people end up saying or putting on a poster or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Personally, I don't care either way as long as they're being honest when they're teaching.
Sure.
If you want to sit there and say, like, I love my Balintawak. I trained with Manong Ted Buat, private lessons at his house only. Remy opened the door up for me, Remy Phrases.
I love Balintawak.
And this was the ungroup methodology. So a lot of scenario-based training. But there's no way in hell I would even attempt to do that in the street. I mean, can I apply a couple moves? Sure. But, and I would, and I'd say, well, what about the angles of attack? Well, I already learned them from Remy. And we use the same angles of attack. We just have a different numerical order. And I think the modern approach. See, here's the thing. Right. I don't know if you've ever heard of Rocky Paswick.
I have not heard of Rocky Paswick.
So he was an old school guy of Remy. He's been on the road a few times. He used to hang out with a lot of different people, FMA industry back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. He was on our show the other day and made the comment, Remy Phrases did not. Here's the thing. Modern Arnis was not about teaching Filipino martial arts. Modern Arnis people are not Filipino martial artists. What they are. Ooh. Oh, yeah. No. At the end of the day, if we're talking modern Arnis, as per Remy Phrases, There's the 1%ers like myself that did it as a standalone program. But it's the big banner. It's the art within your art, which means it's a hybrid program. We're putting it on top of your karate, your taekwondo, your jiu-jitsu, fill in the blank.
Right.
He was trying to enhance your self-defense ability with Filipino concepts without compromising the integrity of that base system, which was the strength and why it became one of, if not the most practiced Filipino martial concept in the world. But it was also its downfall because the only full-time school in existence while Professor was alive was mine. And most of the masters who are saying they're this, that, and the other thing, and some are now grandmasters, had never produced a black belt for Remy Praces. So the problem was there was nothing set up for the succession of the art after Professor either retired or passed away.
Do you think that in the future of the Filipino martial arts, people are going to care about rank as much as they seemingly care about it now? I really was never interested in it.
Well, I think we have to. Supposed to do a show this weekend, but it's Super Bowl Sunday, so Dean and I and others will be doing a FMA school show as far as how we can do this as a full-time entity. There needs to be an emphasis on this one way or another in a positive way. Yeah. Because if there's not a goal structure, you will not be able to get the masses involved in this.
That's true.
I just don't get why these people are walking around wanting to be grandmaster bullshit when they haven't even produced a black belt, if that's the equivalent thereof.
I feel like you're attacking me being a grandmaster and everything.
No. You're two Hans and something or another. You're what's your latest? What a GM?
Super guru. I'm a super guru. It's the only one of its kind.
Okay, well,
I'm the only one. I'm authentic.
Okay, there can only be one. I mean, does that mean you Highlandered somebody? And
no. I mean, there could be only one at a time. I can give it to somebody.
Okay,
like there's only one Grand Tuhan, right?
Really?
You can't have two Grand Tuhans.
You mean you can't have like 5 modern East grandmasters promoted in a year, whatever? Or wait, no, that was in Germany at one time. My bad.
Man, okay, like, why does it bother you what other people do with modern Arnis?
I could give two shits if they weren't taking shots at me.
This is okay.
Well, no, it's not the shots; it's interfering with my business because I'm the only guy that's really doing this professionally.
I mean, Tim, bro, you know how this works, right?
Yeah.
You know how this works. Like, people are gonna chuck rocks at you.
I get that. The problem here is this:
you're not allowed to show pride in yourself in FMA.
You're not.
That out.
Well, you and I talked about the will. I shared bits and pieces of the will, and when I read it, I had a problem when someone put it in his book because who the hell is he to put the will in and talking about the financial estate? Now, if you want to talk about the martial arts, I'm all down with that. But why would you put in the book who got how much money, who got this house, who got that house? That's no one's damn business. But the thing was, when I read the will, it talked about being Remy's life work. It's been my life work since I was 20. I am not married. I don't have children. I made the sacrifice for this art, before this passion of mine. I could give two shits what all the others do. And I know people are going to say talk smack or whatever. But part of the problem I have now is people are putting misinformation to the point where either they're delusional or they're bull-faced lying. And it's changing things. And as of late, it annoys the hell out of me when people are doing stuff that are, how's it helping the art? That's my latest question. What we're doing.
Right.
Ask me about the show. I go, you're stirring up trouble. No, I'm talking about the truth. And if that stirs up trouble, that's not my intent. The intent is we've had a bunch of people on the FMA talk. It's primarily modern Arnis. And I've had people who are not part of my organization. I've given them a voice on another voice on the internet. We've talked about where their schools are, how to get in contact with them. But they're not my people. And this is what we want to do. Like your show. You're not asking for any accolades. You're having people on because you're trying to promote Filipino martial arts.
Also for my own ego, and I want to be universally loved by all.
Well,
I'm
you're working on it. I mean,
do you think? I mean, are you passing this on to your students? Are there going to be senior students of Datu Tim Hartman who are going to hate senior students of XYZ?
well, I'll tell you what. Right now, I've got here we go. I have 3rd generation black belts now teaching seminars.
Okay, and I mean,
So that's my martial art grandchildren are doing
Yeah.
seminars, which means we are growing.
right.
I mean, that's not being done. I mean, Remy taught me. I taught others, like you said, like Jeremy, who's up here, Jeremy Gaudet. Jeremy and a classmate of his, they're both 3rd generation students of the old man. Jeremy's teaching a satellite program from PG Craig, and Evan, his classmate, which is Craig's son, is doing seminars now because it's not just me promoting me.
Yeah.
I'm helping the 1st gen students get seminar or how to structure seminars and do the business. I've got the 2nd generation students doing that, and I've got the 3rd generation students doing that.
That's pretty awesome, man. Congratulations. And I mean, yeah, it's too bad you can't be universally loved like myself because you've done some
Well, no one's you.
You've done some great things.
There we go.
Hey, what's your relationship with Craig Mason out here in Sudbury, Ontario?
He's my top black belt in Canada.
Is he really? He's a solid fighter. He kicked my ass, man. It was amazing.
Of course he did. I trained him well. Well, I trained him well, and then he did his own work. So here's a perfect example.
He hits hard, man. That dude, and he's a rusher. I never identified that as being a modern Arnis characteristic.
Well, first of all, you got to sit there and say we're not modern Arnis, we're us.
Okay, fine.
So no, because here's the thing. So this is one of the things that pisses me off about the art, about any art. So, Renee, obviously.
Renee.
Kokolo?
Yeah. I don't know him very well.
But so he made a point of saying, oh, man, modern Arnis people, they support us. He goes, no, they don't support you. Craig and I support you. There's 3 groups of modern Arnis in Toronto, and to my knowledge, none of them have supported his events. So when someone like myself, I know you like PTK, but yeah. I don't give PTK credit for your helping the FMA community. I give you credit for helping the FMA community.
Okay, I get it.
And what I don't like is people riding on my coattails and that thing, stuff that, like, here we go. Modern Arnis people don't fight.
Yeah, I thought that.
Okay. So Remy may have had like 8,000 members while he was alive.
Yeah.
Maybe 60 of them to 100 of them fought. Okay, let's say it was 100 of them.
Yeah.
60 of them were my students. So my school fought. I know there'd be people like, okay, we've got Andy Filardo who fought. He had a small group in New York City, 6 guys. Doug Pierre, never saw students, but I know he fought in weak calf. Ed Pilsitz, he fought weak calf. Maybe, and Rocky had a couple guys.
Yeah.
But that's out of like 8,000 people.
Okay, let me throw this at you.
Okay.
I totally get what you're saying when you made the analogy that when I support FMA, you don't give Pikiti Tertia credit to that, despite me.
Or no, just anything in FMA.
Right, exactly. And so you don't like it when, modern Arnis gets other modern Arnis people get lumped in by association. Well,
like anything, it's not even modern
Right.
Arnis. It's just as a whole.
Sure.
What I don't like. Okay, so you are the exception, not the norm. When you become the norm, then I'm okay with that.
Right. I get it.
Like here we go. In the Balinswalk community, I have been accepted with open arms. I have never been to an event where I was made to feel unwelcome.
Okay.
Do I like everybody? Nah. Do I get along with all the instructors? Nah. But the students never gave me shit. So I would say that the Balinswalk community is an open, welcoming community. I've done with a whole bunch of people here. Bobby Tabuada has opened the door for me for people in the Philippines.
Yeah, but that seems like, like this is a one-way street where it ought to be a two-way street. Like when you say the Balinswalk community is friendly to you, shouldn't you be saying that those individuals were friendly to you and not so much?
But it's the mass. It's not. It would if it was only 2 or 3 people, that would be one thing. like I hang out in the Kempo community as well, the American Kempo community.
Right.
I have always been welcomed because I'm hanging out multiple organizations with many people.
Yeah. Well, where do you not feel welcome?
In my own family.
Well, that sucks. Do you think you're part of the problem, or you're trying to work towards a solution towards fixing this thing?
Ty just said hello, by the way. He's down in Texas teaching.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Hello, Ty.
Hi, Ty.
Yes. By the way, he is Mr. Clean.
Yeah, that guy's
He's like,
crazy.
Yeah, he's like crazy. Yeah.
I saw his picture on Facebook. I'm like, who's this guy? And then it's like,
That's Ty.
cool. He's a nice guy. And then
He's like Arnold, but different. He doesn't talk funny.
yeah, he. First of all, I want to post up Jeremy and James Lynn's laugh emoji, and I think that's when I said that Craig Mason kicked my ass. I did pretty good.
Probably.
I did. I was not myself that day, but I watched the video. I did pretty good, considering.
Okay, we can go with that.
Did you see it?
I see. Listen, I like watching you fight in general. No, I coached you a couple times.
Yeah, I almost won. I almost won that tournament.
You listened to the video later, and you knew I was right that they blocked the shot.
No. Anyway, it was against a young guy. It was in triple overtime. I'm fine.
You were doing your Nataro Ru Kali program.
Naruto. I was doing Naruto styles. You know me. I want to look. I want to look pretty.
It was awesome.
That's my jam.
Hey,
Kali Doug. Come on, man. You're gonna hop on after or with Datu Tim. This is all about just random stuff. Oh man. I don't know about this whole FMA thing.
Listen, people inside their own community don't get along with each other.
I know, right?
So when you're talking about, like, do I think I'm the problem? I think, yes, I am part of the problem, but not for the things.
You're very honest.
Okay.
You're very honest.
Well, I mean, I call it the way I see it. And, you know, the thing, okay.
That's good.
Law enforcement and military father, steel-working piece of shit bipolar stepfather, worked in the automotive industry for years, a whole bunch of no-nonsense stuff.
Yeah.
So I just call it the way I see it. I don't try to be mean about it, but it was just a very abrupt, upfront answer. And
I get it. I get the same thing. And it's even worse for me because I'm Filipino. I'm supposed to adhere to the...
You are?
Yeah. Apparently. I'm half Cambodian, half Thai. Phillips, rice is rice. It's all the same. Okay. But anyway, man, congratulations on all your successes. I'm glad that, you didn't give up on it. Were you close? Was there a point where you're like, fuck this?
So I've given up on I gave up on the community on multiple occasions. And now what I do is I worry about me and the people that want to work with me.
Got it.
I was going back and forth, and there seems to be almost an anti-Tim thing going on right now. But then again, I look at who invites me to teach and write forwards for their books and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I've taught at Bobby Tabuada's camp on multiple occasions. I hang out with Michael Horon. I hang out with Jason and I. I there's a laundry list of people I can put down. And I'm okay with that because I don't give a shit who I don't get along with. I look at who I do get along with.
Yeah. Hey, man, I feel that in a very real way. I would oftentimes have arguments with an FMA practitioner, and they don't know that me and their grandmaster are chatting it up in the background.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's pardon me. Yeah, it's the quality of the individuals who actually get who you are and what your intentions and goals are and what your contributions have been and will continue to be that actually friggin' matter. The rest doesn't matter. But anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Not a problem.
We will go have a chat again. And keep stirring the pot and stay in the game, brother. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I will talk to you guys later.
All right. Peace out. All right. So we got another guest on deck. Oh, and here he is.
Hey, man. How you doing?
What's up?
Not too much. Yourself?
Doing pretty good.
Good.
Who are you for people who don't know who you are, including me who doesn't actually know you, but there were some posts that we engaged in, and I feel like I got a pretty good read on your character, as much as I can without having met you in person. But
yeah, for sure.
Who the heck are you?
My name is Dax Williams. I live in Alberta. I have been training FMA for about 20 years now, primarily under Maestro Norman Swanico in the KI system.
Okay, and you identify as a KI guy?
Yeah.
I love Kalis Ilustrisimo. I have no information about the gentleman that you just mentioned. Where does he fall in line with the whole? I imagine there's some fragmentation in KI. There's that's not the wrong word. Is he Master Tony Diego's side? Is he on the Mangromi and this?
He is more on the Mangromi, more in the with the Luneta group than with the Kondo group. He lived with Tatang for a number of years before he passed. So I mean, as far as the factions go, I mean, I don't really keep up with it anymore, and I don't know where people stand because that stuff changes, right?
I can keep asking you questions, but is there something that you wanted to talk about and you wanted?
No, man. I saw your.
Hash out.
What's that?
Can I just ask you some questions then?
Yeah,
you live in Canada, right?
Yeah. In Alberta.
Is that where you've lived all of your life? Is that where you were born?
Yeah, I was born and raised Central Alberta. Man, I've been here the whole time.
The whole time.
What
was that like? And you've been. How old are you now? You've been doing FMA for 20 years. So how old were you when you started?
I'm 35. I started when I was 15.
Well, that is so random. Like
you're
living.
So
you're living out there. Okay, go on. Tell me.
Well, okay. So the gym was started by a gentleman named Arsenio Padilla. Guru Sunny, I believe it was Martin Reganis and Tatang and a couple of the other cats Sunny had wanted to start a gym in Red Deer because he'd moved here, immigrated here, started working and all the things. After a while, he wanted to fire up a gym, promote Filipino culture. Went back to the Philippines, got some names, spoke to Tatang, who would be a good instructor for me to bring to Canada. And his goal was basically to have an instructor come to here and be the primary instructor for the gym. And Norman was the selected one. And so he came over in 1999.
And so where do you fall in line with that from him?
From who? From Norman?
Yeah.
He was my primary instructor for all of it for KI since I started. Is
there anyone else doing KI where you live? Are you like the sole representative now?
Yeah. So Mag Norman is still here. We shuttered the gym here in last June because of the Rona. But so the thing is, in Western Canada, there's Mag Norman, who is here in Red Deer. And there's Grand Maestro Tommy Daitang, who is in Richmond, British Columbia, right? And he's under Tony's lineage. You
teach Kalis Ilustrisimo?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What's that like? I mean, are you involved in the marketing of it? Are you involved in the acquisition of new students at all?
No. Well, I mean, I took the gym from Sonny about 5 years ago. It just got to be he had an old injury that kind of flared up, kind of stopped him from being super involved. So I'd had other pursuits, business and stuff, and family and all the rest of it. So it wasn't really a great time for me to take the gym. So and FMA has been a hard thing to promote for a couple of years. It's been. Well, not for a couple of years, kind of always. Yeah. So it's its own kind of thing, but Right now, again, since June, since the gym shut down, because I mean, we haven't been able to do anything since 2020, since March or
Yeah.
whatever. So very limited training, just the people that have kind of worked with in the past. But I will likely end up starting kind of doing more seminars again, the way we had previously.
Are you gonna be doing this for the rest of your life, do you think?
Absolutely. I mean, like I started when I was 15. It's as much a part of me as anything you do for 20 years, right? I mean, it's same idea. You know, you get a BJJ black belt. It's a lifestyle by purple belt, and you're going to do it forever because that's just the way it is.
If there's anything that can change that for you, right? If there's anything that could make you walk away from it, what would it be?
I mean, I don't know how I could walk away from it at this point. I mean, you know, it's been foundational to my life. You know, I moved away from home when I was a kid. Like by the time I found KI, I was like a kid with no direction and nowhere to be kind of thing. And Guru Sunny just kind of happened across me, and he just kind of saw this kid who had nowhere to be, and he's like, "Why don't you come train in my gym?" And
what?
So I started training with Meg Norman, and I had literally nowhere else to be in my life, right? So I just kept on showing up, and I couldn't even afford gym dues. So it was we do these seminars every month. You got to come along and be the guy that we throw kind of thing, and help with the seminars and do all the things. And that's what I did for those initial years, because I mean, again, I was just a kid with no anything to give to the system, to give to the gym, to help anything. So, you know, it very much was a part of what formed me.
When you look at that journey from an outsider's perspective, for me, it's freaking cool. You know what I mean? Like this lanky Filipino dude who was awesome with a sword in the Philippines changed the course of your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
In Canada, like, and not just Canada, but you're like out in the prairies.
Just lucky, you know. And I mean,
how do you paint that picture? How do you read your own story,
dude? It's such a weird thing to even like talk about, because it's, you know, and people have said it's like, this is like a really old school way of learning martial arts, because it was like as close as you can get to a dormitory program without a dormitory program. Because, you know, I went to work and I went to the gym. And when I wasn't at the gym, I was thinking about the gym and training so that I could go back to the gym and impress my instructors, right? And that they were always there for me for everything. You know, there were times where I didn't have somewhere to live, being a kid, whatever, you know, and Sonny's like, "Oh, here's the keys to the gym. You know, just, you know, when you find a spot, just, you know, do what you got to do." I mean, I would call it, it was a strange way, you know, to walk through your youth, but absolutely the best thing that could have happened to me, you know.
Yeah. And you were that guy who does that sword thing.
Yeah. And I mean, people still know me as that guy who does that sword thing, you know, and it's like, "Oh, that guy does knife fighting," or whatever it is they want to say, you know, and he's like, you know, but
it is cool though. I mean, as much as FMA is so damn cool.
You know, and I've had a lot of opportunity. Like Sonny brought me to the Philippines when I was 19 to compete.
Oh, you competed in the Philippines?
Yeah. That's where I met Mang Tony for the first time, Mang Yuli. I didn't meet Mang Romy at the time. Yuli, Tony, and I met Mang Roberto Morales on that trip. I said like training by like limited time. I was only there for a month.
That's a lot.
Yeah, but I mean every day every day.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So it was great. But you know, one of my students went back to the Philippines and trained with Mang Yuli for quite a while.
That dude is. I only saw him recently speak on FMA discussion, and dude, I was like, I need to get to know that
dude. Mang Yuli, KI is so interesting because I mean, from where I sit, you know, and I'm no expert on anything. Yeah. I'm just kind of here, but you know, it's interesting because you get these core students that trained with Tatang, and everybody has their own perspective of it. right? And from where I sit, that doesn't make anybody right and that doesn't make anybody wrong, but it gives each one a very unique perspective,
Sure.
just how they learn things and how they see things and how they do things. But it's interesting, because and having had the opportunity to meet them and train with kind of each of them a little bit, and I mean, it does tie a lot of it together, and I'm really lucky to have been able to. Master Ray was the other one that I
Ray Galang?
Yeah, Ray Galang. And then I never got a chance to train with Topher. I never got a chance to train with, like I said, Meng Romy, and obviously not Meng Edgar. But
Have you ever met Sean Zerger at all?
no, I haven't. I've seen some of the videos that he put up and some of the stuff that you guys have done, or that he just did an interview with Dean not long ago.
Yeah. I feel, I feel like I want to get you two together and just.
I would love to. Where is he based out of?
He's right here in Toronto, where I live.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh,
well, I technically live in Markham, but you and Sean Zerger,
yeah,
sitting across from each other and just me having an understanding a little bit about how you both think. I think that would be a really, really fascinating.
Totally. He sounds like somebody. Yeah, he seems like somebody I would really, really like the chance to train with, and just like because he comes from Meng Romy's lineage, right? Yeah.
Directly learned from him. He spent time in the Philippines, and he's Sean Zerger, when he makes the decision to study an art, he pours his whole entire being into it, and wants to know the ins and outs, and he's very respectful of culture and tradition, which sometimes can be to a fault. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because there's a lot of things about culture and tradition that may not necessarily perfectly align with one's speed and trajectory towards learning something. You know what I mean? But it's really interesting to me that you went to the Philippines to compete under the KI banner, and that you went to the Philippines and you met all these people. I really want to meet Mang Yuli Romo, man. Because again, when I saw him speak at FMA discussion, I'm like, there is something to this guy. What do you think it is that I sensed?
There's this thing about Mang Yuli. He is like, God, how do you put it? He's the wild card, I think, right? in how he does things. Because I mean, he straight up said, like, he doesn't teach straight KI, right? Like, he teaches his interpretation of what Tatang did, right? He learned Tatang, not just the techniques, right? He is where a lot of the core guys carry the Tatang banner, and they've done a very good job at it. Yuli, he's innovated and he's taken it and translated it. It's like you can learn how to paint, but that doesn't, like, how do you put it?
Just because you're in a garage don't make you a car.
Exactly. And it's, but I mean, and the thing is, like, if you're going to stack him with the other pillars, he's I think the most unique of them. Of the mix, the way that he moves is so atypical, but it's so in line with how Tatang moved. If you look at Tatang's responses and his movement and it was very atypical for FMA, and it still is very atypical for FMA, but Mang Yuli is still that, you know what I mean? It's really, really cool to be able to train with him, because it's like, what are you doing, right? You watch, you're like, what are you doing? Because it's so different than anything you will have done, right? And then he explains it and does it all just because of this. And you're like, how the fuck has that never? What the hell, And it's amazing. It's mind blowing.
It seems like he's not trying to recreate Tatang Ilustrisimo. He's trying to embody him and the philosophies that he employed, which is, frankly, that's what I personally gravitate to. I think it's impossible. When somebody embodies and is demonstrable about a particular lineage and its philosophies, rather than trying to become a duplicate of that master, it happens a lot in Pikiti Tertia, and I think where a lot of people misstep, if I can say that, is that they're trying to copy the movements of Grand Tuhon Leo Gahe past his prime.
Mhm.
And so they're not interpreting the abbreviation of movement. They're
And
copying it, pixel by pixel.
totally. And that's one of the cool things about Manguli is he's a principle based instructor, and I love that so much. Like, because you can duplicate technique, but until you learn principle and that principle's in your bones, you can only do so much, right? And I God, have you ever had a chance to try even look at any of the stuff that Mang Tom has done?
No.
Tom Daitang? Dude,
No, I've not.
If you're ever in Richmond, right?
I might go because my sisters live in BC.
Dude, let me know if you go to Richmond. I'll totally meet you out there.
Let's go, bro.
Absolutely.
I would love that.
Dude, Kenneth Ko and Tommy Daitang. They have this great training setup. It's this big warehouse, right? It's the War House, right? And it's such a good. And Tommy is amazing.
Okay.
Like his ability, he's just right on point, And he's like Yuli, but different than Yuli. He's like Yuli, if Yuli and Tom, or Yuli and Tony, had like a joint student together kind of thing, because he's very how do you put it? Like his physical ability is, I think, the closest to Tatang from what I have in the way that one could emulate Tatang's movement and timing, because Tom's just bang on top of it. You know what I mean? But he moves very fluid, like Yuli, and that's one of the things I really like about Yuli is just like he's just like an oil slick.
I'll be honest with you. I'm so captivated by Mang Yuli Romo. I don't think I've ever seen him move. I just really enjoyed reading between the lines of what he was saying during that interview, and I was like, "Damn it, I just gotta meet this guy." Oh my goodness,
he is. And one of the things I like about him is how principled he is. Like he, God, like the politics of it all. Manueli's one of these guys that's like not going to let anybody walk away with talking shit about anybody. And I love that about him. Like he's just. What you see is what you get, and he's just 100% good.
Yeah, I gotta meet that guy. And you know what, man? Truthfully, I enjoy sparring a lot. I'm not afraid to show my faults, mistakes, and failures. For me, it's personal, but I love the performance aspect of it. I have to say, man, fighting KI people has probably been some of the most enjoyable for me.
Yeah.
There is, I think, man, I'm going to get in trouble. I think more than any other style or system, I think KI fighters have the deepest appreciation for pre-clash strategy. And they really have a really profound appreciation for before we even start moving. And they're calculated. And it's not, a lot of Pikiti Tertians are like, rah, they just come at you like barbarians, and
and part of me wonders about that with Pikiti Tertian, because like honestly, if I was to train exclusively in another system, it would be PTK, no question. I love, like I've had some exposure to it through Tim Wade, and man, system, it's like standing in front of a buzzsaw when you're with with Tim, and you're like, oh my God, fuck. But it's one thing that I question about PTK is I wonder about the kind of the development of it. It seems to me like it was generated very much for military use, for force on force, for enforcement, all of these things. And I do wonder about the self-preservation side of it. Because like I can spar with these PTK guys, and like you said, they come in fast, hard, they're moving, they're swinging, all these things, and it's very different. And I think some FMA styles, you get this almost like a group warfare mindset behind how it was built, and then you get things like KI or even like Lightning Scientific is also very similar to this, where it's for one-on-one combat. Like this is for personal combat, right? Because I'm never going to expect on this side that anybody is going to come and help me. On this side, it's like if I drop, there's this contingent that's with me to work, you know. And I don't know if that's the why of it, but it I don't know, it kind of makes sense.
Well, the thing about Pikiti Tertia that I would like everybody to know is that not all Pikiti Tertia is created equal, because Grand Tuhan Leo Gahe didn't teach everybody in the same way.
No, absolutely.
You know, and so it's very much open to like I would consider myself, if I had to choose a banner, it would be very difficult, right, to exclude influences from Kalis Ilustrisimo from that, and Bolentawak and Estacado de Campo, even though I've only trained that thing very, very little.
Yeah, for sure. I get that.
Spoke to me, right?
Yeah.
And FCS Kali. Again, I don't represent any of these systems, but if I had to exclude all but one, I would say I'm a Pikiti Tertia fighter. And I was very fortunate to have joined the Pikiti Tertia Tactical Association because despite the skulls and the camo element of it, but I must say that element of it is at least authentic to the foundation of that system, where it was founded, who founded it, and its development. But they encouraged me to be who I am, to explore, to be flamboyant, to be still, to be barbaric. And the system is vast enough. And I think this is where a lot of Pikiti Tertians kind of fall short, is that it isn't a very focused system. It's huge. And they try to learn everything, and they don't specialize. Okay. And I think there's a value to the pursuit, but no one man can contain all of Pikiti Tertia.
No.
It's impossible.
I mean,
impossible.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. I mean, Grand Tuhan, there's so much that man has done and learned and developed. And I mean, I don't know how you can, like you said, how you can try to put that all into one and then make one, make a fighting system out of that, you know, like that would be really difficult. And I mean, I wonder if that's why he's taught it like he has, fractured into, you know, sections.
And that's why whenever people say I teach authentic Pikiti Tertia, I'm like, so it's brand new then. It's about you, isn't it? They're like, no, it's exactly like. I'm like, no, it's impossible.
Impossible, yeah.
It's impossible. But that's my personal opinion.
Yeah, for sure.
But in any case, thank you very much for joining, man. I really appreciate that.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, is there you know, I always try to do something like, can people find you?
No, man. Honestly, I mean, I'm fairly easy to find on social media. It's just Dax Williams, and I mean, there's not a whole lot of us around. It's DAX, so I mean, it's, you know, it's pretty simple. And I mean, as far as training goes, you know, because I don't have a gym anymore. Yeah. You know, like, well, and I mean, I probably won't until things kind of calm down as far as everything happens, because it's just, Jesus Christ, man. Yeah. I'm overweighting for stuff, but you know.
Are you documenting your journey though?
What's that?
Are you documenting your journey?
No. Dude, I wish.
You're not writing it down, you're not filming stuff. You don't have stacks of notes. Okay, you do.
Oh, dude, I have notebooks upon notebooks upon notebooks of training notes. You know, I've never been a camera guy. I've never been a big video guy. Like even anything that has been put up on like YouTube of me doing stuff, for the most part has been other people that want to put it up. So yeah, sure. Like I'm not opposed to it by any stretch of the imagination. I just, you know, every picture I take looks like it's taken with a potato, and what do you do, right?
Well, we can do something. But yeah, hold on to those notes and just yeah, man. I always like to encourage Filipino martial artists, certain ones, to consider or reconsider sharing it in some platform, in some way, and taking more steps towards it.
I would love to do that, but again, it's the technical side of it that just boggles me. Okay, you know, it's not my cup of tea, but I mean, I would.
What kind of phone do you have?
It's a Samsung
Galaxy
S10. Yeah,
that's a great camera. I had an S9 that produced.
Is it
excellent quality camera?
Okay,
anyway, maybe we can talk, and I can share some tips.
I'd love that.
Yeah, maybe we'll record a private session, and you can show me your interpretation of Kalis Ilustrisimo.
Yeah.
But definitely, someone like you with such a unique story, I think the FMA community is becoming more hungry for connecting these pieces that just, these FMA masters, man, they just like scattered seeds wherever they went. And it's like, boom, it grew in Red Deer. Like there's Dax there now. You know what I mean?
Oh
So
my God. And it's so, dude, I love it. Like I love FMA. And I mean, I've trained in so many different things over the years that, I mean, and I think it's probably the same with every type of martial art. Like you can equate things back to your first system, and your mother's system, as it were. But shit, man, FMA is just one of those things. And like learning from Norman was one of the best things this is one of the things that I've come to appreciate over the years, is because Norman is very, very old school. It's like, I remember he would be like, I would do a technique and he'd look at me and be like, no. I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? And he's like, do it like this. And he'd get up and he'd show me. And I'd be like, well, what was I doing? Wasn't I doing it like that? He's like, no. So, and it was like, he would never he would explain, but he would never over explain.
Right.
And learning like that from him, and it's funny because like people will say about Tatang, it's like, well, he would never volunteer information. You had to ask him the right questions,
right?
And with Norman, what I learned to watch. I learned to watch so well to assess technique and to assess how things are done and all of the movement involved. Because who's not gonna spoon feed that to me? Norman, right?
Right.
So you learn, and it's benefited me so much because like now I think the only thing I regularly train right now is BJJ. Just I like BJJ and it keeps me moving, and I'm getting older and fatter and it's not getting any easier, so might as well do it now. But it's also hard because like FMA, I would love to be doing more FMA, but to get a group going, and I mean the personalities sometimes that get involved, it's your wannabe super turbo toxic tough guy fucking cocksuckers that piss me off. I'm like,
there's none of that. And I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But in any case, man, one thing I wanted to mention about Norman, right? And is it Norman?
Yep.
What's his last name?
Swanico.
Yep. One thing about instructors like that is that two things. One, they can't teach everybody.
Yeah.
It takes it takes a specific kind of student to be able to extract value from that kind of instructor, which sounds like you are. And the second thing is that when they do give you a compliment, it's like,
you're right.
Yes, I did that right. I really did that right.
Yeah. It was just like bathe in it.
Yeah, it's so old school Filipino grandpa type, just pure joy when you get it right, and they're proud of you.
Absolutely.
So,
and that's what it was like growing up with those. I had the weirdest two dads. I tell you what. And I think that kind of alignment and chemistry is more rare than the usual student-teacher relationship. I think it's that produces greatness. Not a lot of people excel in, I guess, negative feedback. Everyone wants positive reinforcement. Mm-hmm. You're doing great, even though you didn't do that really good. But certain instructors will just give it to you straight, and will be hard on you, but when you do things right, you'd have earned it. You feel like you earned it, and when they give you praise, it's that much more meaningful. Ain't no participation award. With those kinds of instructors. Absolutely. Hey, are you planning to go to Atlanta for Blade Show this year?
No. I mean, I've been to Blade Show so many times, and I'm. It's beginning to feel like every show is the same. And
I know.
Yeah.
Okay.
But one day I will, because there's usually a whole bunch of FMA seminars that happen in and around that time.
Yeah.
So.
I've never been to any of these seminars that happen. I run into Jared every time that I'm down there, but that's about the extent of my FMA stuff that's happening when I'm down in Atlanta.
You're there for the sharp stuff and the.
Yeah, my best friend owns Beagler Blade Works, so he sells all his ballad songs there.
Okay. Hey,
Yeah.
you please after we get done here, introduce me to all these people, or at least point me in the direction where I can learn more about them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because honestly, I've traveled the world for like 10 years
Yeah,
promoting this and that, and now I'm all about Team Canada. I want to really push Team Canada because I think we got something super special here. I think we have a unique perspective
yeah,
on the Filipino martial arts, and we like to fight, man. You know,
right?
It's-
Right? Yeah,
we
yeah,
just
we
like
do.
to do it, right? And then we'll say sorry, buy you a beer, and then
And everything's good, right?
That's what I love about it.
it. We just don't need the grudge afterwards.
Right, we don't need the grudge. We can have the
Cool.
fight. Plus,
Yeah.
free healthcare works out because we're getting injured all the damn time.
That's the best thing about doing FMA sparring in Canada is the free
It's the
healthcare.
free
Right?
healthcare. Right. Awesome. Well, Dax, my man, thank you very much for joining this evening. I hope you enter this phase of wanting to share more of yourself and your journey. I feel like it's going to happen.
Totally. And I mean, if we can go bounce back and forth, because the how of that, I know that's definitely your cup of tea.
Yeah, I'm here for you, man.
Yeah, I would.
Balls in your court. We'll go toss some ideas around. Contact me anytime. We're Facebook friends. We'll chat. I want to get to know what your intentions are, and then maybe I can help focus in terms of making the tech side of it not so overwhelming, which it can sometimes be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
Awesome.
All right,
Thanks,
Dax.
bro. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Take
Bye.
care.
What? This has been pretty cool, man. This actually worked out. So again, just random podcast. We had Jozef. We had 3 guests today, all very unique with their own like super cool narrative, their own like really incredible journey. We have this half American, half Filipino whose dad lived in Switzerland, who has unparalleled access to Mang Henry, lives in Manila, is an RRK guy, young man, super skilled. Jozef Elefant, go check him out. Amazing. Then we had Datu Tim Hartman, right? Which sometimes people don't get. I love that man. Like, that is someone that the Filipino martial arts community actually needs. Okay? And you can agree with me with that or not, but this is my opinion. And then finally, we had Dax, who like lives out in the prairies of Canada, which has like incredibly brutal winters. He practically lived in a gym, fell in love with Kalis Ilustrisimo, has been doing it for 2 decades. It's part of his soul. And I really hope, that's Tim Hartman. Like, he's a man when it comes to social media, right? He's very agile when it comes to the utilization of different elements of martial arts, particularly on the business side, on doing it right, very opinionated. I mean he's really, God, I don't want to say it, but he is kind of inspiring in a way. Damn it. Okay, yeah, that too, Tim Hartman is kind of inspiring in that way because he's rolling with the punches. That's what he's doing. He knows how to work StreamYard. He's running his own podcast. His podcast looks freaking amazing, and he's either doing it himself or he's hiring graphic designers to create packages. That's super, super dope. And again, just a stellar lineup of guests tonight. I want to do this again. I want to talk to as many Filipino martial artists out there because you guys have some freaking interesting stories. I want to address some of these comments. James Lynn, this is a KI comment. For my very limited understanding, I see KI as the equivalent of grad school. Many of those core KI OGs all had experience before they met Tatang, and they were all blown away. We hear the same type of things from people like Sean Zerger. Yeah, I mean, grad school, though? I don't know. I don't know about that. I think any Filipino martial arts has the depth for grad school type study. You know what I mean? Which I am not that person. You know this, James. You're one of those people, James, where you really like to. I mean, you've got that engineering brain where you really need to know the minutia and the detail and how they interact with each other in order to understand the outcome. Where I'm just like, show me the outcome. I'm gonna find my own path there, and I'm gonna get hurt doing it. And I'm gonna cause a lot of damage, but I'm gonna eventually figure it out. Like that's my jam. Right? I love that journey. But yeah, I don't want to deny the idea that Kalis Ilustrisimo can be seen as sort of grad school for FMA. Certainly, I think a lot of Pikiti Tertia practitioners could use a little bit of KI in their practice, or some other art like maybe GAT, where they really learn how to weaponize stillness, right? I think Pikiti Tertia is an incredibly mobile and agile art with a super important emphasis on maneuvering, tactical maneuvering to get advantageous angles to capitalize on and hurt your opponent in that regard. Whereas a Kalis Ilustrisimo may need less maneuvering because they can find those moments in without expending as much energy. And I think it is here's the thing, right? Like you speak with someone like Dax, who spent a good chunk of his life studying this one Filipino martial art, and I think that's reflective of a lot of people who do Filipino martial arts. And I think there's a barrier to exploring other Filipino martial arts because there's this thing where like you don't want to start from the beginning, or some people are like that. They're like, oh, if I'm going to learn another art, I'm going to learn it from the beginning, inside out. You don't necessarily need to do that. I think the journey and the experiences and the insights that you gain from studying one art can absolutely transfer over to the next art. You just have to find the right circumstance, environment, and really, I've been super fortunate to have done that. I will meet a grandmaster for the very first time. We will spend a condensed, hyper concentrated day, and it's driven by my curiosities. It's driven by the questions that I ask, followed by practice. This was my time with Master Henry Espera, right? I was with him for like 5 hours, but it was so condensed and it was driven by my questions, and it was just like bang, 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 bang. So if for all you Filipino martial arts students or instructors out there, I would encourage that. It can only enrich the art that you love, right? It's like I love Canada, and I love it even more because I travel the world, and I have such a profound appreciation for Canada because I know where it stands in relation to others, right? And I'm not saying Canada is the best, number one, right? There's certainly things from the Philippines that I wish Canada had more of. The point I'm trying to make is that when you allow yourself to have a passport to explore other regions, as long as you come back home, those experiences can only be beneficial to you. And that's how I view the Filipino martial art. That's how I've always viewed it, despite the fact that I'm friggin' new to it. I feel like, to some degree, my journey is sped up, is expedited in some ways, and I fully own that in other ways I've been hindered by the fact that I didn't study a complete system beginning to end. Right, so I accept the pros and cons of those things, but when speaking about the pros that I've experienced, I wish y'all would experience that as well. All right, Robert Pickens. I don't know. I saw your picture and I saw your name. Thank you. Be well as well. But when I read "Be well," I read it in an accent. I don't know why. Be well, Robert Pickens. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. One beer, all the different FMA styles can add to your own personal dance. And that's exactly it, you know. Yeah. There are so many amazing guides, masters, systems, lineages, individuals, practitioners, strangers who have shared so much with me. And it's only enriched my understanding of the Filipino martial arts. And even then, I feel like I don't really know it. I know my Filipino martial arts better than anybody else in the whole damn world, but I don't know the Filipino martial arts. And maybe, check out this comment. Boom. Oh, that's totally not true. But let me just point. You know what's the most important thing about that? Yeah, buddy. No. But I'm not gonna. I'm also not gonna not show that because I think it's dope. I think it was Oprah. Oprah got this thought in my head. I'm gonna share this with you. We're gonna link Oprah Winfrey, okay, with the Filipino martial arts. And she said something because she's incredibly rich, right? And she come from a very modest background, and a lot of people from her community pressed their guilt, right, on her because she's now wealthy. And she said, I don't deny my past, but I'm also not going to deny the fruits of my labor and my hard work. You know what I'm saying? And that's how I feel about FMA. When I have successes, I'm proud of it. I'm going to show it off. I'm going to wave my own banner. But I think the way to do that properly is that, hey, if you make mistakes, you better own up to it. If you get hit in a really bad way, you better post that. If you're going to post your successes, it's dishonest to only post your successes, right? And that's like you're trying to too closely monitor like your brand, your image. FMA need to be like MMA or BJJ, open source, freedom for creativity. Yes. Now, when you make a statement like that, there are going to be people who are traditionalists and want to preserve the art who are going to argue with you. I don't think those things are mutually exclusive. I do love the idea of open source and freedom for creativity. I believe in that, and I think that's why Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition level is the highest really in the world, is because there are so many people with eyes and ears examining it. And so the more people we have examining Filipino martial art, it's going to raise some really, really difficult conversations. It's going to breed skepticism and doubt. And if it stops there, that's a tragedy. But if the skepticism and doubt becomes the engine for trial and error and laboratory work, then it becomes a good thing, right? And that is no offense to the people who have come before us who may have believed that some things work, but maybe it worked just by virtue of the fact that there weren't very many people doing it. There weren't very many people challenging it. So now we're at a unique, super awesome time within the scope of Filipino martial arts where we can do that, right? We can take a concept from Kalis Ilustrisimo and go, hey, I don't think that works. I'm going to go test it out, right? We can do the same with Leo Gahe, Angel Caballos, and we can do all of these things, and we can say, hey, that works under this context, but not under that context. And I hope that those preservationists, right, the people who made promises to their grandmasters, don't see what we're doing as any sort of an insult to the groundwork that they've laid out for us. Because without their groundwork, we wouldn't have anything to examine. So we thank those who have come before us, and we honor them, but at the same time, we are not bound necessarily by the limitations of their discoveries. We're free to make discoveries of our own. And I think that's okay. I think that's totally cool. Woo! All right, I'm not gonna bet. I'm wired, you guys. See this? Like FMA just got me so hyped up, and I don't even know why. FMA is amazing. If you're not doing FMA, do FMA. But then again, why are you watching the show if you're not doing FMA? All right, guys. My name is Paulo Rubio, aka GN. The only favor I will ask of you is visit FMA Source on YouTube. Hit subscribe. Help me grow. It's an algorithm thing. The more people that subscribe to the FMA channel where I use FMA hashtags and do FMA content, then it'll spread that content to more FMA people. And we build this damn thing brick by brick together. Thank you. Big shout out to FMA Discussion as well, who's also doing similar things. FMA Pulse, all of those guys, you know, the June and Paul show, anyone who has a platform and is focused on promoting and talking about the Filipino martial arts, whether we agree or not, who cares? You have my support. All right. Thank you guys. Peace out. Good night. One love. And now here is the dopest. This is the reigning champ of all Filipino martial arts podcast intro and outro. I'm number one when it comes to that. Enjoy.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch. Go.
You're finished! Let's go!
Get up. Never got no up. Gotta wake up, bitch. Get up.
Oh!
Get up. Get up.
Before it launched the counterattack.
Oh!